The metaphors around the technology were the things that really interested me. The manufacturing is fascinating, that you could sort of have a CAD image and then you can make the physical object, but you are writing the object into being through light. The weird thing about digital media is that you can do all the things you did in the past. If you look at rapid prototyping especially, it's a layered manufacture. Well, that's a coil-built pot. There's nothing particularly unusual about that, except now it's automatic. There's a speed shift, right? And the fact is that you have almost a perfect, almost snowflake-like ability to read the map of your process or your progress, right? And that's kind of fascinating in and of itself. Total surveillance, weird. You can surveil yourself. So the tactical play exchange was this project that I did with Robert Giroux, in which we set up a thing where we shared models for over a year. And every time somebody touched it, they put their initials on the end of it, and we built these huge networks of objects.
Wow.
And that's where the concept of social object comes. That goes on. There's a lot of play and play theory and these kinds of things, or systems theory, but you're doing it from the inside, Like if you pick up your phone and make a phone call, you're never aware of the network. It's invisible to you on some weird level, right? But in this kind of thing, you're constantly aware of the network and you're aware of your place in it, right? You're aware that you put the last initials on that as sort of your thing. So there's the possibility of a group experience in this thing, and again, this sort of snowflake-like presence of a interactive space, of these conversations and digital modeling back and forth between each other, and at the same time, each person has a completely individual presence in the node.
Right.
It's not an address 101.160.229. It's not an address. It's actually me in that spot in a moment in time. And I find that extremely interesting, that it's both a communal and collaborative experience, and it has an absolutely individual and almost authored kind of thing. So on one level you're not the author, and on the other level you're totally the author. And in some sense it's a Creative Commons kind of license, or an open source. Open source is the way I first heard about that stuff, and what was really I thought that was brilliant. I was very excited about all of that stuff, and the sculptural user interface had a lot to do with ideas about open source, and also in sculpture, social sculpture with Joseph Beuys, and things like Kossuth, art after philosophy, the ready-made made ready, and all that sort of stuff. All that stuff really, it seemed to collide together in an interesting way, because on one level, none of the open source programmers gave a shit about, Joseph Kossuth and the ready-made made ready. They could care less about any of that stuff. But here it was. That was exactly what Kossuth was talking about. He was talking about making something available for other people to use and recontextualize as a tool.
Right.
How fabulous is that, right? And that's exactly what open source was on some level. And once again, no continuity or connection or conscious relationship in those things, except by people who come to use it. Right? I come to use the network or the media, or I come to use Kossuth's philosophy about the ready-made made ready. All of a sudden, you got chocolate on my peanut butter.
Right. Oh, that's cool.